My beloved brothers and sisters, there are times when Allah reminds us through the simplest of things. Things that we take for granted, things that are so ordinary that we never pause to think about them. One such thing is salt. You may look at it and think it is only something you sprinkle on food, yet it is one of the most powerful reminders for our daily lives. Allah can place signs in anything He created, even in a grain of salt. Salt preserves food, it prevents corruption, it adds taste, and it cleanses. If you reflect, each of these qualities carries a lesson about your faith, your home, and your life. Today I want to share with you 7 powerful spots in your house where placing salt can become a reminder. Not because the salt itself has power, but because Allah uses signs to warn us, to wake us up, and to guide us back to Him. If you ignore these signs, you may be ignoring a message from Allah that was meant to protect you and your family. 1. At the entrance of your home. When you think about the entrance of your home, you must realize that it is not just a simple doorway, it is the very first point of connection between the world outside and the safety inside. It is the place where your family steps in after a long day, where guests arrive, where neighbors greet you, and where every blessing that enters your house begins its journey. The entrance is more than wood, more than bricks, more than a lock and a handle. It is a symbolic gateway. And just as blessings walk through that doorway, so too can negativity, envy, and unseen harm. How often do we hear about families who suddenly find themselves surrounded by arguments, bitterness, and tension that never seemed to exist before? Sometimes the source of these problems is not what is inside the house, but what comes in through the entrance. A visitor may step in with a heavy heart, filled with jealousy, and the energy of that envy can linger. A guest may enter with thoughts of competition, comparing what you have to what they lack, and they leave behind a cloud of negativity that spreads in the home. Even words spoken at the door, harsh comments, gossip, or criticism can plant seeds of conflict that grow silently until they explode in arguments. Placing salt at the entrance is not about superstition, it is about reflection. Salt is known for preserving food from decay, stopping it from rotting, keeping it fresh for longer. In the same way, when you see that salt near your door, it should remind you that you need to preserve your household from corruption. You must be conscious of what you allow to enter. Do you open your doors to toxic influences? Do you invite in conversations filled with backbiting? Do you let envy and pride cross your threshold without resistance? If you do, then the home will begin to lose its peace, just as food loses its taste when it spoils. If you find that your home has suddenly become filled with negativity, constant arguments, unexplained heaviness, or a lack of harmony, pause and ask yourself if Allah is sending you a warning. Maybe He is telling you to guard your entrance more carefully. Protecting your door is not just about locking it against thieves, but guarding it spiritually against everything that can steal your peace. This protection comes through prayer, through remembrance, through kindness at the threshold, and through starting every entry with the name of Allah in your heart. Salt at the entrance becomes a daily reminder that your house is not safe because of its walls, its locks, or its alarms. True safety does not come from physical barriers. Real safety comes only when Allah places His protection over you and your family. Every time you notice that small handful of salt at the door, remember, without Allah's care, even the strongest walls are weak. But with His protection, even the simplest home becomes a fortress of peace. 2. In the corners of your rooms. When you walk into any room in your house, you usually notice the center first. You see the furniture, the decorations, the people sitting there. But very rarely do you pay attention to the corners. The corners are often ignored, left unnoticed, and because of that, they slowly collect dust, cobwebs, and dirt. You don't see it immediately, but over time it builds up until it becomes obvious. Spiritually, this is exactly how our lives work. We focus on the big things, the obvious acts of worship, the visible habits, but we neglect the hidden corners of our character, the small habits, the private sins that nobody else can see. And just like dust in the corners, those neglected areas begin to build up until they weigh heavily on our souls. Placing salt in the corners of your rooms is not about superstition, it is about teaching yourself to pay attention to what is hidden. Salt has always been a symbol of purification and preservation. When you see it in the corner, it should remind you that even the most ignored parts of your life need cleaning. Ask yourself, what corners of my life have I been ignoring? Am I careless with my private thoughts, convincing myself that since nobody can see them, they do not matter? Do I allow small habits like lying, wasting time, or ignoring my prayers to pile up quietly until they become normal for me? Every time you look at those corners, you should reflect that the little things you neglect today may become the very reasons for your downfall tomorrow. Think about it. A house may look beautiful in the center, but if the corners are filled with filth, sooner or later, the entire room loses its purity. In the same way, your life may look impressive to others, but if you are careless about your hidden sins, your inner world begins to rot. Neglecting the corners of your soul is dangerous because sins grow in the dark. They hide in the areas where no one else can see, and if you never confront them, they multiply quietly until they overtake your peace. Sometimes the warning from Allah comes not in a loud, dramatic event, but in the subtle feeling that something is wrong inside you. You may feel restless even though everything looks fine on the outside. You may feel heavy even though your life appears normal to others. That restlessness is a sign. It is Allah reminding you that you need to sweep the corners of your life, the private spaces of your heart and mind, just as you sweep the corners of your house. Salt in the corners becomes a visual lesson. Just as salt keeps away corruption in food, it should remind you to keep away corruption in your unseen habits. Every corner you sprinkle it in should whisper to you, do not ignore the hidden parts of your life. Do not think that what is small will stay small forever. Clean it now before it grows, because on the day of judgment it is not only the big sins that will matter, but even the small ones you piled up without care. So when you look at the corners of your room, do not just see empty spaces, see them as mirrors of your soul. And when you see the salt placed there, let it call you to reflection and purification. Do not wait until the filth is overwhelming. Act now, clean now, and keep your heart pure, just as you would keep your home pure. 3. In the kitchen. The kitchen, my brothers and sisters, is one of the most important places in any home. It may not look glamorous, it may not be the place where you sit and relax, but it is the place where sustenance is prepared, where food is cooked, and where the blessings of Allah are transformed into meals that keep you alive. Every single day, the kitchen becomes a workshop of blessings. Grains, fruits, vegetables, meat, water, and spices, all of them are taken from the provisions Allah has given and turned into nourishment for you and your family. Now imagine the role of salt in that process. Salt is a simple ingredient, often overlooked, often forgotten, but without it, food becomes tasteless. A small pinch of salt can completely change the flavor of a meal, and without it, the meal feels incomplete. This is the reminder Allah places before us. Just as salt gives taste to food, gratitude gives taste to life. If you forget to be grateful, then no matter how much food is on your table, no matter how much wealth you have, life will feel bland and empty. Salt in the kitchen should remind you of this powerful truth. When you see it, pause and ask yourself, am I truly thankful for what Allah has placed on my table? Or do I complain about the food? Do I compare my meals with what I see in restaurants or in the homes of others? Do I waste food because I do not value it? Every time you throw food away, every time you mock a simple meal, you are ignoring one of the greatest blessings of Allah. The kitchen is not only a place of cooking, it is a place of gratitude, a place where your attitude towards Allah's provision is revealed. Many people wonder why their homes feel empty of blessings. They work hard, they earn money, they fill their fridge, yet the barakah seems to be missing. They are always dissatisfied, always arguing, always complaining. Sometimes the warning from Allah is hidden in the way you treat your food. Wastefulness, arrogance, and ingratitude eat away at barakah just as surely as rot eats away at fruit. Salt in the kitchen becomes a symbol to remind you, be grateful, be content, and share what you have. And remember, food is not just about feeding your stomach, it is about feeding your soul. When you prepare a meal, you are not just cooking ingredients, you are preparing blessings. If you forget this, then your kitchen turns into a place of ingratitude. But if you remember Allah with every step, the simplest meal becomes more valuable than a feast. Salt is the cheapest, simplest thing in the kitchen, and yet it is essential. Without it, flavor disappears. This is a lesson for us. Sometimes the smallest things hold the biggest value. Gratitude, patience, kindness. These qualities may look small, but they are what give life its meaning. Salt in the kitchen whispers this truth every day. It says, do not overlook the small gifts of Allah, for they are the ones that hold everything together. So the next time you see salt in your kitchen, let it be more than an ingredient. Let it be a teacher. Let it remind you that your home will only taste sweet if you season it with gratitude. And if you neglect this lesson, then even the richest food will feel bitter, and even the most expensive kitchen will feel empty. True barakah does not come from what is on the shelves, it comes from the state of your heart. 4. Near the bed. The place where you sleep, my brothers and sisters, is more than just a piece of furniture. It is the space where your body lies down after the struggles of the day, where your mind unwinds from the pressures of life, and where your soul experiences its daily pause until you wake again. The bed is where hours of your life are spent in silence, and it is also the place where your heart reveals its true state. You can hide your emotions in the day, but when you lie down at night, your inner world rises to the surface. For this reason, the bed is a sacred space of reflection, and salt placed near it carries lessons if you are willing to see them. Think about how many people struggle at night. Some cannot sleep because their hearts are filled with worries. Some wake up in the middle of the night restless, feeling heavy without knowing why. Some toss and turn because their consciences are burdened with guilt. Others oversleep, falling into laziness that robs them of prayer and discipline. These struggles are not random. Sometimes they are gentle warnings from Allah, calling you to reflect on your habits before sleep. Placing salt near the bed should remind you that just as salt cleanses and preserves, you too must cleanse and preserve your soul before you sleep. Sleep is not guaranteed. Every night when you close your eyes, it could be the last time you do so. Many people go to bed with plans for tomorrow, but never wake up to fulfill them. That alone should make us reflect deeply. What condition do I want my soul to be in if tonight is my last night? Salt, sitting silently near your bed, should ask you this question every evening. It is not about superstition, it is about training your mind to remember purification. Before you sleep, cleanse your heart from grudges. How many of us carry anger against a family member, a friend, or even a stranger into the night? Those grudges poison your peace. Your sleep becomes heavy, your dreams become unsettled, and your heart wakes up tired because it never truly rested. Salt by your bed should remind you, let go of that bitterness before you rest. Forgive, not for their sake, but for your own soul. It should also remind you to cleanse your thoughts. Many people fall asleep scrolling through endless distractions, flooding their minds with noise until their last thoughts of the night are filled with useless images and empty conversations. No wonder their rest is disturbed. Salt reminds you that you must protect your mind from corruption the way salt protects food from rotting. Go to bed with remembrance, with gratitude for the day that passed, and with a prayer for the day that might come. Another lesson the bed teaches is discipline. How many opportunities for prayer are lost because of oversleeping? The early morning hours are blessed with peace, but laziness keeps many of us chained to the bed. Salt near the bed is a quiet nudge saying, do not let sleep become a trap. Rest is a blessing, but laziness is a curse. Take only what you need and do not allow the comfort of your mattress to steal your worship. And there is one more reflection. When you lie down, think about how similar it is to lying in a grave, covered, still, silent. The difference is that in bed you wake up, but in the grave you rise only on the day of judgment. If you reflect on this every night, you will realize that sleep is a rehearsal for death, and waking up is a reminder of resurrection. Salt near the bed preserves food from corruption. Let it remind you to preserve your soul from corruption as you prepare for rest. So my brothers and sisters, when you look at the salt near your bed, let it be a teacher, let it whisper to you, cleanse your heart, clear your mind, forgive others, and remember that peace in sleep does not come from the softness of your pillow, but from the purity of your soul. And if Allah grants you another morning, wake up ready to live with gratitude and discipline, because every new dawn is not promised, it is gifted. 5. In the bathroom. My beloved brothers and sisters, there is one place in the home that many of us never connect with deep spiritual reflection: the bathroom. For most people, it is simply a place of cleanliness, a place to wash, a place to relieve oneself, and nothing more. Yet even here, Allah places powerful reminders for us, if only we stop and think. Salt in the bathroom may seem unusual, but it carries a message of purity, discipline, and awareness. Salt, after all, is known for cleansing, for preserving, for preventing corruption. When you see salt in the bathroom, it should remind you that your spiritual journey is tied closely to the way you treat purity and cleanliness in your daily life. We often underestimate how much importance our faith places on cleanliness. It is not just about appearing tidy in front of others, it is about maintaining a state of purity before Allah. A person may dress in fine clothes, wear perfume, and appear presentable in society, but if they neglect cleanliness in their private lives, especially in the bathroom, they carry impurity with them that can affect their prayers, their worship, and even the acceptance of their good deeds. Salt in the bathroom stands as a symbol to remind us that we cannot separate physical purity from spiritual purity. The two go hand in hand. Consider this: the bathroom is the place where impurity is removed. Every time you enter, you are taking part in a process that Allah has designed for your benefit. Without it, you cannot survive. Without it, your body would be poisoned. Just as waste builds up in the body and must be expelled for survival, sins build up in the soul and must be cleansed for peace. Think about how uncomfortable, how painful it feels when the body is full of waste and cannot release it. That discomfort is a reminder of what sins do to the heart when we do not repent. They weigh us down, make us restless, disturb our peace, and corrupt our spirit. Salt in the bathroom is a visual cue to remind you. Just as you cleanse your body daily, you must also cleanse your soul through repentance and remembrance. Many people ignore the small acts of cleanliness, thinking they are unimportant. They rush through washing, they are careless with purity, they pray while still impure, they treat these details as minor. But in truth, these details are the foundation of worship. You cannot build prayer on impurity. You cannot expect barakah in your home if cleanliness is neglected. And you cannot expect peace in your life if you do not discipline yourself to care for both your physical and spiritual state. Salt in the bathroom, sitting silently in a corner, whispers a reminder: do not be careless. Purity is half of faith, and neglecting it is a warning that you are slowly drifting away from discipline. The bathroom also teaches humility. When you enter, you strip away appearances. Nobody looks glamorous here. It is a place that reduces every human being, rich or poor, powerful or weak, to the same state. It humbles you, reminding you that no matter how much wealth or status you have outside, in here you are the same as everyone else. Salt in this space, a simple, inexpensive substance, reinforces this lesson. Greatness is not in outward appearance, but in humility, discipline, and purity before Allah. Another reflection is how the bathroom represents hiddenness. It is a private space away from the eyes of people, and yet Allah still watches over you there. He knows your state, your intentions, and your discipline. This is a reminder that true faith is not about impressing people with visible acts, but about being conscious of Allah even in private moments. Salt in the bathroom becomes a teacher. It reminds you that you cannot hide neglect from Allah. Just as salt prevents corruption, let it prevent the corruption of your faith by making you more mindful of Allah, even in moments no one else sees. Think also about the symbolic link between cleanliness and prayer. Before standing in worship, you cleanse yourself. You make wudu. You prepare your body to reflect the purity you want in your heart. How many of us rush through this? How many splash water carelessly, treating it as routine? But imagine if you prepared for prayer the way you prepare for an important meeting. Imagine if every drop of water reminded you that sins are being washed away. Salt in the bathroom, with its cleansing quality, can serve as a symbol of this. It tells you, treat purification with seriousness, for it is the gateway to acceptance of prayer. The bathroom is also the place where discipline is tested. Do you waste water when you wash? Do you take longer than necessary? Do you leave the place messy for others? These small acts reveal a lot about your character. Wasting water, for example, is one of the most common mistakes people make, and yet water is one of the greatest blessings Allah has given. Every drop is precious, and every drop wasted is a sign of carelessness. Salt in the bathroom should remind you, preserve what Allah has given, use it with gratitude, and do not be among those who are wasteful. And let us not forget how salt connects with preservation. In history, salt was used to stop meat from spoiling, to keep food safe for long periods. In the same way, when you see salt in the bathroom, let it remind you to preserve your purity. Just as food decays without salt, your spiritual state decays without discipline in cleanliness. Every time you see it, let it nudge you to ask, am I pure in the eyes of Allah, or am I carrying hidden impurities that make my worship weak? So my brothers and sisters, the bathroom may seem like the least spiritual place in the home, but it carries some of the most powerful reminders. It teaches humility, discipline, and awareness. It shows us that purity is not optional, it is essential. Salt in this space becomes a symbol. It tells you that your soul must be cleansed as regularly as your body, that waste must be released before it poisons you, and that neglecting purity is a sign that you are ignoring Allah's gentle warnings. The next time you enter the bathroom, do not think of it as a meaningless place. Think of it as a reminder that faith is built on purity, that worship cannot exist without discipline, and that even the most hidden parts of your life are seen by Allah. When you notice salt there, remember that your journey to peace begins with cleanliness inside and out, and understand that this is not superstition, it is reflection. It is Allah teaching you through signs, reminding you that every place, even the bathroom, can carry lessons for the soul. 6. In the living room. The living room, my brothers and sisters, is often called the heart of the home. It is the space where family members gather, where conversations take place, where guests are welcomed, and where the rhythm of daily life beats the strongest. Unlike the bedroom, which is private, or the kitchen, which is practical, the living room is communal. It is where bonds are either strengthened or broken, where love is nurtured, or where resentment is planted. For this reason, the living room holds incredible importance in shaping the atmosphere of your entire household. Now ask yourself honestly, what dominates the atmosphere in your living room? Is it a place of peace, warmth, and gratitude, or is it a place of constant noise, distractions, gossip, and arguments? For many families, sadly, the living room has turned into a space of conflict. It becomes the place where harsh words are exchanged, where complaints are repeated, where children see parents argue, and where negativity lingers long after the conversation ends. In some homes, the living room is filled not with the voices of family, but with endless television, music, or distractions that drown out meaningful connection. When salt is placed in the living room, it should not be seen as some magical protection. It is a reminder, a symbol. Just as salt preserves food and keeps it from spoiling, you must preserve the relationships in your living room and protect them from corruption. Without preservation, food rots. Without patience and love, families rot too. Think about it. How many households today are broken not because of financial struggles or external problems, but because of the words spoken and the attitudes displayed in the very space where families are supposed to feel closest? Salt in the living room should make you pause and ask, what kind of energy fills this space? Do the walls of my home echo with kindness, or do they echo with harshness? Do children grow up hearing words of encouragement and wisdom, or do they grow up hearing fights and insults? The warning from Allah can come through these daily patterns. If your living room has become a battlefield of words, then perhaps Allah is showing you that your household is in danger, that love is slipping away, and that your family is losing its unity. The living room is also where guests enter and sit. What image of your family do they see? More importantly, what spiritual state does your home reveal? If your living room is dominated by gossip, by complaints, by the belittling of others, then not only are you polluting your own home, you are spreading that pollution to those who visit. Remember, words carry weight. Once spoken, they do not disappear. They settle in the air, they sink into hearts, and they can shape the character of those who hear them. Salt in this space should remind you that just as food becomes inedible when spoiled, conversations become harmful when they are poisoned with gossip or disrespect. Another reflection lies in how the living room often represents comfort. Families gather to relax, to share meals, to talk after a long day. But comfort can be dangerous if it turns into heedlessness. Too often families forget to bring remembrance of Allah into the center of their home. They remember Him in prayer, in the mosque, during special occasions, but the daily living space, the living room, is left empty of remembrance. Hours are wasted on screens, endless chatter or negativity, while gratitude and prayer are absent. Salt in the living room is a symbol to remind you, preserve your home with remembrance, just as salt preserves food. Without remembrance, the home decays from within. Think also of how the living room is the place where children learn. They may not sit in classrooms here, but they observe, they absorb, they copy. Every argument between parents teaches them something. Every word of gossip teaches them something. Every moment of kindness teaches them something. Salt in this space should remind you that the preservation of your children's character begins here. If you do not guard what happens in the living room, do not be surprised when your children grow up carrying the same negativity into their own lives. And let us not forget how quickly negativity spreads. A single argument in the living room can affect the mood of the entire household. A single harsh word spoken here can ruin the peace of the day. But the opposite is also true. A single word of encouragement, a single moment of kindness can uplift everyone. Salt placed here becomes a reminder that just as a pinch of salt transforms the taste of food, a pinch of kindness can transform the atmosphere of your living room. The choice is yours. Will you season your home with gratitude and patience, or will you allow it to rot with complaints and bitterness? Finally, consider that the living room is often the most visible part of the home. It is where outsiders sit, but more importantly, it is where Allah's angels may or may not remain. It is said that angels do not remain in spaces filled with filth of the tongue or harmful distractions. If your living room is dominated by arguments, gossip, or harmful influences, then what protection remains? Salt here should remind you daily that protection does not come from furniture or decorations, but from the atmosphere you allow to settle. And the atmosphere of a home reflects the state of the hearts that live within it. So my beloved brothers and sisters, when you look at the salt in your living room, do not see superstition. See a call to action. See a reminder to guard your words, to build your family with love, to fill the space with gratitude and remembrance. If you do this, your living room will not just be a physical space. It will be a place of peace, a sanctuary of love, and a reflection of faith. And if you neglect it, then do not be surprised when the very heart of your home becomes a place of restlessness. 7. On the dining table. The dining table, my brothers and sisters, is more than just a piece of furniture where food is placed. It is the stage where gratitude or ingratitude is displayed every single day. It is the place where families gather to eat, to share, and to bond. It is the spot where Allah's provision is set in front of you, fresh, warm, and ready to sustain your body. And yet, sadly, it is often the place where people commit some of the greatest mistakes, forgetting to acknowledge Allah, complaining about the food, comparing meals to others, wasting what is left behind, or eating without moderation. When you see salt on the dining table, remember that it is not there to protect the food by some magical power. Its purpose is symbolic. Salt is one of the simplest, most common ingredients in the world, yet without it, the richest meal tastes incomplete. In the same way, gratitude is simple, easy, and free, yet without it, even the grandest feast feels hollow. Salt on the table is a daily reminder that your meal will never truly be fulfilling if you forget to thank the one who provided it. Think about how many people in the world go to bed hungry every night. Millions of men, women, and children lie down with empty stomachs, not knowing when their next meal will come. And yet here you are, sitting at a table where food has been placed for you. It may be simple, it may not look impressive, but it is still a blessing many others would weep to receive. When you complain about food, when you criticize its taste, when you act as if it is not enough, you are showing arrogance. You are showing ingratitude to the very provider who gave it. Salt on the dining table should whisper to you, do not belittle even the simplest blessing, for Allah can take it away in an instant. The dining table is also where family unity is built or destroyed. Families that eat together share not just food, but also love, care, and communication. When the table becomes a place of gratitude, smiles, and kindness, the food nourishes both the body and the soul. But when the table becomes a place of arguments, complaints, or silence filled with resentment, the food may fill the stomach, but it does not fill the heart. Salt, small yet essential, should remind you that just as it adds flavor to food, gratitude and kindness add flavor to family life. Without them, the table becomes bland and empty, no matter how expensive the meal is. Consider also how food is wasted in many homes. Plates are piled high, yet half is thrown away. Leftovers are forgotten in the fridge until they rot. Children are not taught the value of every grain, every piece, every drop. This is not just waste, it is disrespect to the blessing of Allah. Every morsel of food on your table carries a journey from the soil to the farmer through the effort of countless hands until it finally reaches your plate. Wasting it is a sign that you have not understood its worth. Salt on the dining table becomes a warning. Do not waste, for Allah does not bless those who are wasteful. Gratitude is not just saying thank you. It is also respecting the blessing by using it well, by sharing with others, and by avoiding waste. Another lesson the dining table teaches is humility. Sometimes people look down upon simple meals, bread, rice, lentils, or plain soup, thinking they are inferior to rich dishes. Yet often it is the simplest meals that are the healthiest, the most nourishing, and the most satisfying. Salt is cheap, plain, and overlooked, yet it is essential. In the same way, never look down upon simple blessings, because sometimes they are the ones that keep you alive. Salt on the table tells you, value simplicity, because it carries hidden richness. The table also represents accountability. At the end of every day, what is on your table reflects the choices you made. Did you earn your food through honesty, through halal means, through dignity? Or is your table filled with food gained through dishonesty, carelessness, or exploitation? When you eat, you are not just filling your stomach, you are feeding your soul. Food earned through pure means brings peace and barakah, while food earned through corruption brings heaviness and restlessness. Salt on the dining table should remind you, it is not enough to have food. It must be pure in its source, respected in its use, and received with gratitude. And finally, the dining table is a place of remembrance. It is where you should pause, reflect, and acknowledge the one who provided what lies before you. If you eat without remembering Allah, then you are taking a blessing without acknowledgement. But when you remember Him, when you thank Him, the food becomes more than fuel. It becomes a form of worship. Salt on the dining table stands as a constant reminder that every bite you take is an opportunity to either show gratitude or fall into heedlessness. So, my brothers and sisters, the next time you sit at your dining table, do not treat it as a routine. Do not see it as just another meal. See it as a gift, as a test, as a reflection of your heart. Let the salt sitting there remind you every day. Be grateful. Do not complain. Do not waste. Share with others. And never forget that the taste of food comes not only from spices, but from gratitude. Without gratitude, even the sweetest food turns bitter. With gratitude, even the simplest food becomes a feast. My beloved brothers and sisters, when you reflect on these 7 places, the entrance of your home, the corners of your rooms, the kitchen, the bed, the bathroom, the living room, and the dining table, you begin to realize something very important. Salt, something so small, so ordinary, so overlooked, has the ability to remind you of powerful lessons in life. It does not have power in itself. It does not protect you. It does not bring blessings. Only Allah protects. Only Allah provides. Only Allah preserves. But through the qualities of salt, its ability to preserve, to purify, to cleanse, and to add flavor, Allah places reminders in front of your eyes so that you do not forget Him. Every grain of salt whispers a message. It tells you, preserve your faith, just as salt preserves food. Cleanse your heart from envy, grudges, and sins, just as salt cleanses and purifies. Add gratitude to your life, just as salt adds taste to meals. And protect your household from corruption, just as salt prevents decay. These reminders are simple, but they carry the weight of truth. If you ignore them, you risk ignoring the very warnings Allah sends you to protect your soul and your family. The truth is, my brothers and sisters, your home is not made safe by walls, locks, and alarms. It is made safe by the remembrance of Allah, by gratitude, by patience, by purity, and by discipline. A home where Allah is remembered becomes a fortress, even if it is small and simple. But a home where He is forgotten becomes restless, even if it is grand and filled with wealth. Salt in these 7 places is not about superstition, it is about building awareness. Every time you see it, let it push you to reflect on your habits, on your words, on your gratitude, on your discipline. So do not ignore the signs. Do not dismiss the lessons. Every blessing around you, even the smallest grain of salt, is an opportunity to remember Allah and to improve your life. If you take these reminders seriously, your home will be filled with peace, your heart will be filled with gratitude, and your life will be filled with meaning. And remember this always, without Allah, even the richest life is empty. But with Allah, even the simplest life is full of taste, full of barakah, and full of peace.